I have so many questions, and I know there's not enough answers. Okay, turn it off. That's all we can afford. What's going on, you guys? Steve here, and let's react to some more DJ content.
Alright, so you should absolutely spend more time learning to produce than learning to DJ. Two reasons. Producing is way harder, so it's going to take you way longer to learn. And also, the returns from producing are way bigger. Like, if you make one track that people like, all of a sudden you'll get booked to DJ anyway, even if you're not even a good DJ.
Oh man, out the gate, we're choosing violence. I know James Hype is a pretty polarizing person. There's a bunch of people out there who love him. There's a bunch of people who hate him. I don't really have any type of opinion on the guy, but what he's saying here is true. If you want to get to those higher levels of DJing, you need to produce. I know there's a bunch of DJs out there who hate that requirement, but this is how the scene is. If you want to be a DJ these days, you have to be a producer and an influencer, among a billion other things. He said that DJing is easier than producing. Yeah, maybe that's objectively true. I don't think DJing is something to scoff at though. I think most DJs out there just learn how to beat match, and that's kind of the glass ceiling on their skills. They don't learn anything else. They don't feel they need to learn anything else. And the industry doesn't require anything else. Honestly, the industry doesn't even require you to beat match. Half these DJs don't even know how to mix. Anyways, what he's saying here isn't the most glamorous, but it is true. That being said, this production requirement doesn't apply to everyone. If you're an influencer, if you're a celebrity, you're gonna get in. The industry really only requires this production standard for the average bear, working class musicians. If you're famous for something other than music, they could care less. They'll throw a mix on the aux cord and just have you jumping around on stage. Locally, I've noticed this requirement isn't expected of women. None of the women in my scene who DJ produce songs, but they're clearing way more bookings than the guys. I'm not saying that to police who gets where and who gets booked and who doesn't and where people should be and where they should sit or where they shouldn't, but I'm just calling it out. It's not a universal standard. In one of my first videos on the channel, I very vaguely alluded to this. I believe it was in the video about the DJ population. The study also claims that 23% of DJs are women and 6% of those women produce songs. In 2023, Mixmag reported that women are booking twice as many gigs as their male counterparts. I think that's a ratio thing, but there's also another blaring reason why I believe this is happening, but we can get into that another time. I think the reason for this varying standard is because women on social media average way more engagement and followers than the average man. I really don't want to get into the weeds on this topic. I don't want people out there saying I hate women for saying the sky is blue, but this is the harsh reality of things. I'm just reading stats here. Long story long, if you want to be a DJ nowadays, you have to produce and make content. It's not about DJing.
Your brand image as an artist is either helping your career or hurting it. So here's how to make it work for you. Starting with the psychology of visual recognition. People recognize other people by their face and hair first. Then the overall silhouette of the person, and then specific details. And your brain is going to categorize people as either interesting or ordinary within 3 seconds of seeing them. So if an artist looks like someone you would just see at Target, your brain's going to categorize them as ordinary and move on. And here's why most artist brand images fail. They're dressing for comfort and not attention, choosing safe colors that blend in, and they're styling themselves like they're going to a 9-to-5, not dressing for a career that requires people to notice them. So here's the strategic framework for a memorable artist brand image. Element 1 is the hair psychology. Your hair is your biggest brand recognition tool. The crazier and more unique, the better. People are going to remember you by your hair more than anything else. And a boring haircut usually leads to a forgettable artist. Element number 2 is your color psychology. So many artists just wear black, white, or gray. But the strategic use of bold, contrasting colors is what's going to make you pop. So you have to understand the warm versus cool color theory. Clashing tones look unprofessional. Complementary warm tones look intentional. And element 3, silhouette disruption. Change your shape through oversized pieces, undersized pieces, unique accessories, dramatic proportions. If even your outline looks like everyone else's, you're just going to blend in. And last but not least, element 4, lifestyle communication. Every visual choice should tell a story about the world that you represent. Your style should make people curious about you and your music before they even listen to it. Because your image as an artist isn't just about self-expression, it's also how you strategically build a world and a career around your music.
I've said this before, I can't stand this subgenre of content. This is wrong with you. This is wrong with you. This is why you're not as big as Billie Eilish. This is your problem. This is your problem. Everything is wrong with you. I hate this stuff. If I didn't know what I knew now about the industry, Something like this would be very discouraging. This would frustrate me. Maybe not this video specifically, but this type of content would just deflate everything I had going on. I can get super long-winded on this topic, but I think it's really lame how everything else in music matters more than music. We're talking about haircuts and the color of your clothes, not how to make a bridge, not how to make a clean transition, not how to make your mixes more interesting. We're talking about clothes and haircuts. That's what it takes to make it in music, is your clothes and your haircut. That's what you're telling me. That's what matters more than the music. I just want to see the comments. I'm kind of getting fired up about it. Y'all will say everything but make good music. Literally, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? This is why the music industry has gone to literal trash, because y'all are not interested in promoting artists with a gift of music. You want to hire actors that cosplay as musicians. I agree 1,000,000,000%. This is what's wrong with music. Everything is so curated. People could care less if you're an actual musician. It's all about the image of a musician. I've seen it with the fans. I've seen it in my own comments. There's way too many people out there who are just okay with the DJ being hot, being famous, having a bunch of followers, and they could care less about the music. It's about the vibe. And that's why the industry just spews all this slop at us. There's a bunch of DJs faking it. Half of these DJs are just celebrities. They don't even mix. They're just big names to sell tickets. It's because the fans don't have any type of standard. Like, this is what they care. They care about clothes and haircuts, apparently. So yeah, this person's spitting. I like music because how it sounds, not for the artist's hairstyle. Yeah, not once have I ever cared how an artist dressed, what they look like. You are very broken as a human being if you care about what your favorite artist looks like. I'm glad the comment section is pushing back on this, because I think that's ridiculous. Like, this is the type of content he makes. It's more so about the branding rather than actual music and being a good musician. I have a little faith in humanity knowing that people are pushing back on this and they still care about the songs. I have so many questions, and I know there's not enough answers. First of all, why? Second, who set this up? Third, why? I will say I appreciate that the screen lines up perfectly with the decks, but this is kind of wild. Like, why is this a thing? You could literally just play the music on the aux cord without this. It's so unnecessary.
This is going to piss a lot of people off, but it's true, so I'm going to tell you anyway. If you want to be famous, you do not need to get better at your craft. You don't need to take more lessons. You don't need another certification, another class, another training. You don't need to get better at the thing. Because if fame were actually about talent, then at least half of the people who are famous wouldn't be famous right now. Think about it. There are insanely talented, highly skilled, highly motivated artists, creatives, influencers, and entrepreneurs in LA, New York, Chicago, all around the world. People who have mastered their craft and have spent years perfecting their work. And yet, they are invisible. Meanwhile, often the most famous people in their field are not the most skilled at what they do. If it were purely about talent, then we would have a whole new set of celebrities in Hollywood right now. So if it's not about talent, what is it about? It's about visibility.
I mean, I'm not pissed off by this. She's spitting. I've said the same exact thing before. If the industry really did care about talent, half of these people probably wouldn't be here. The entire industry is about attention. It's not about talent. There's so many people out there who are super talented and they get snubbed left and right. The only thing I'm not crazy about is her talking about if you want to be famous. I could care less about being famous. I think it's really weird, because if somebody's good at something, why would you not want to put it in front of people? I hear people saying it all the time. Oh, talent isn't enough. Why not? Why are we in this place as a society where being good at something isn't enough to sell the product? Why is being qualified for a job not enough to get the job? I'm not saying people need to be rewarded every single time they try something, but it's really weird we live in a place where you can be a great artist and people are still like, no, I don't see it. You haven't been my friend since 4th grade, so no. You don't have a bunch of followers, so no. You're not a hot chick, so no. What crazy wrong turn did we take to get here? But yeah, let me chill. Let me just read the comments. I don't want to be famous. I want to be good at my craft for me. Literally. It's not about being famous, for me anyways. If there's people out there who just do music to be famous, I mean, so be it. That's on you. I don't know, man. Watch Shakira perform and tell me she doesn't earn every single ounce of it. See, this is the problem with this conversation. What this lady said is correct, unfortunately, but most music fans can't disconnect from the matrix and accept that it's true. This conversation always devolves into people arguing, oh, not my favorite artist, not my favorite DJ. It's true, though. The industry doesn't reward talent. If they did, half of the problems in music wouldn't be a thing right now. It's also worth noting that that Shakira has been famous for over 20 years. She came from a time where you either had to know somebody, be talented, or strum a guitar or sing outside of a record label building and just get lucky and hope you caught some A&R on their lunch break. She's not coming up in the time where you have to clip farm and go viral and get a bunch of likes and get a bunch of shares and comments and emojis and this and that. She's established. I agree she's very talented. That's a terrible example to try and make this argument. This is why music ain't good anymore. Care too much about creating a perfect marketable image rather than just making music. I agree 1000%. I think the state of music is really unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is. You got to get with it or get lost, because it's not changing. I try to advocate for it to change, but yeah, it's up to the fans, and the fans could care less about good artists. Clothes and haircuts, apparently. This guy's really using PS1s for decks. That's crazy. When I made that video highlighting that I know how to fix CDJs, it opened my eyes to this whole subculture of people who mod DJ gear like this. I think this is really creative and super cool.
And this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll shut up. When you miss the independent artist, you miss what's next. The reason why the concert business is failing, the reason why the record industry is failing, is because there's no new blood. And the reason why is you're not incubating and developing artists. Artist development is no longer. You fired all the A&R guys.
He's spitting. He's spitting. Everybody's dropping facts. This is the ugly truth of music. Everything everybody said to this point is the ugly truth of music. You don't have to like it, but that's how it is. Artist development is a joke. Any record label that has an artist development department in 2025 should be investigated for money laundering. They don't develop artists. If you don't have some viral clips, a bunch of followers, likes, views, and stuff like that, the industry doesn't care. I've seen so many creators and YouTubers make videos on this topic. Why we're not seeing this changing of the guard, this new era of stars after that Taylor Swift, J. Cole, and Drake era of artists. All these artists in the last 15 years, they're here today and gone tomorrow. There's no development, there's no staying power. Most of the top stars in music have been here, and they were here before social media. I just think it's a bummer how artists aren't respected or appreciated and valued until they get their numbers up. But once you're in that position, you don't need these labels. The crazy thing is a bunch of these platforms, these festivals, these record labels, they have huge followings online. They could make a post saying, hey, welcome this new artist we just signed. And the person could have like 500 followers. And immediately from that post, they might get a couple thousand followers off that. But again, it's not about working with new artists, smaller artists. It's not about development. They want you to be established. They want this thing already rolling. And unfortunately, 98% of artists out there don't have that momentum. They don't have those big followings already. But I guess that's all I got for this one. Sorry if this one was super morbid. A lot of these clips were pretty dark and kind of serious. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. As always, I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.